Well, it looks like we're back with another Teaching Tarkov video. Today, I'm going to be breaking down the ins and outs of the healing system in Escape from Tarkov. Learning how to heal properly can be a pretty daunting task when first starting the game. But once you get the hang of it, I promise it's going to be like second nature to you. If this video helped you, please consider giving it a like. And if you're feeling frisky, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So today we're going to start off in the settings menu. Having your health conditions set to always shown is going to be a huge help for you when you need to heal in the game. This feature will pin your health status to the top left corner of your screen at all times. I use the polychrome color setting because I think it's easier to tell how damaged each limb actually is. So in Escape from Tarkov, there are multiple different ways that you can actually be hurt. This can range from a heavy bleed to a fractured limb. Every healing item in the game can either fix one or multiple different effects. Some items will have the exact same purpose, but will have multiple uses before they disappear. So I'm going to break down the purpose of each healing item in the game and when it's appropriate to use them. The first effect that we're going to be covering is the bone fracture. You can tell you have a fracture if you see this icon on top. To heal a fracture, you'll need to use one of the two splints in the game. The splint that you'll be using at the start of the game is called the immobilizing splint and can be purchased from Therapist Level 1. These are single-use splints, and it's probably smart to bring multiple into a raid with you. You'll want to do this in case you break multiple bones in one raid. If you're stuck with a fractured leg, it's going to be exceedingly hard to make it to your extract, so it's definitely better to be safe than sorry. Alongside the immobilizing splint, there's an aluminum splint, which does the exact same thing, but can be used 5 times before breaking. The next thing we'll be covering is bleeds. There are 2 different types of bleeds in the game, either a light bleed or a heavy bleed. Heavy bleeds are indicated by this icon. At the beginning of the game, you'll be healing heavy bleeds with single-use S-marches. It's important to bring multiple of these as well. Once you get Therapist to level 3, you'll be able to buy hemostats, which can be used 3 times. An untreated heavy bleed will cause your character to slowly lose HP. This will result in your limbs becoming blacked out, which is a lot harder to heal. Taking care of your bleeds first is the most important thing to do in the game. If you continue healing a limb before the bleed is fixed, you're basically just wasting your health items. There's nothing worse than repairing a blacked out limb just to have it get re-blacked out because you have a bleed. Once you fix a heavy bleed, you'll be left with a fresh wound. If you sprint too much with a fresh wound, it will rupture, causing you to get a light bleed. Next, we're going to be covering light bleeds. Light bleeds behave basically the same way as a heavy bleed, but you lose HP at a much slower rate. This is the icon that indicates a light bleed. To fix a light bleed, you'll either need a single-use antiseptic bandage or a double-use army bandage. Again, it's important to bring multiple of these. Next, we'll be talking about blacked out limbs. Blacking out a limb is when the HP of a limb is reduced to 0. If your legs are blacked out, it's going to be a lot harder to run. Also, if you black out your arm, it's going to make your aim a lot shakier. To fix a blacked out limb, you're going to need a surgical kit. Currently, there are 2 different surgical kits in the game. The first being a CMS kit, which has 5 uses. The second is a Survive 12, and they have 15 uses. CMS kits repair your blacked out limb a lot faster than Survive 12s do, but they give you less HP to the limb after it's healed. It's never really necessary to run a Survive 12, but a lot of higher level players do choose to do so. The only limbs that you can't repair with a surgical kit are your head and your thorax. If you black out either of these, it's important to get out as fast as you can because you're likely going to die if you don't. The next item that we're going to be covering is painkillers. Painkillers are a bit more complex, so bear with me while I explain the details. Painkillers are great at getting you out of a sticky situation when you don't have time to heal. They decrease the negative effects that happen from being hurt. They can help you run when you have a broken or blacked out leg, or even steady your aim when your arms are messed up. They also stop your character from making noises from pain, which will help you stay hidden if you're hurt. The basic painkillers can be used 4 times and only last 80 seconds. These painkillers are atrocious to say the least, so only use them if you have to. They take a huge hit to your hydration levels, so it's important to have some water on you if you plan on using them. Ibuprofen is the next level of painkillers. These can be used 15 times and are definitely worth running earlier in the game. You'll still take a hit to your hydration, but they last a lot longer than the basic ones. Next, we have Vaseline. Vaseline is my favorite painkiller in the game. It lasts longer than ibuprofen and decreases your hydration a lot less. From mid to late wipe, I typically keep a tin of Vaseline in my gamma at all times. Finally, we have Golden Star. Golden Star lasts the longest out of all these painkillers and actually decreases your energy level, not your hydration. Golden Star is widely considered to be the meta painkiller and is used by a lot of high-level players. I personally prefer Vaseline to Golden Star, but that's because it's a lot cheaper to buy. However, it does make sense to run Golden Star when you're later in the wipe because your metabolism skill is going to be a lot higher. This means that your energy decreases at a lot slower of a rate, so it makes sense that you're able to take hits to your energy. Another way of administering painkillers is with the morphine injector. Morphine lasts for 300 seconds and is administered a lot faster than a normal painkiller. These are typically used in fights where you need to get out fast. They only take 2 seconds to use compared to 6 with Vaseline. When you're first starting out, I honestly wouldn't worry too much about using the injectors. Injectors are used at a much higher level of gameplay, so I would just focus on using your normal painkillers until you get the hang of it. Next, I'm going to cover the things that actually heal your HP. First, we have the AI2 medkit, fondly known as cheese. Cheeses are the cheapest healing item in the game and will only restore your HP. Cheeses provide a relatively low healing supply, so it's definitely important to bring a couple in with you. Next, we have the car medkit. These allow you to heal both your HP and light bleeds. Cars have a relatively low healing supply, so I would recommend still bringing in bandages. Next, we have the ifak. Ifaks can heal your HP and both types of bleeds. However, it's really inefficient to heal heavy bleeds with ifaks, so I would still recommend bringing in some S-marches or a hemostat. Next, we have the Salua First Aid Kit. These are widely considered to be the meta healing item in the game. Its healing pool is huge and can efficiently heal both light and heavy bleeds. It's a very versatile item, and I love using them in raids. A lot of players will choose to keep one in their secure container just in case they run out of the meds that they bring in with them. Last but not least is the Grizzly Medkit. The Grizzly has by far the largest pool of health and can not only heal both types of bleeds but also fix a bone fracture. Grizzlies take up 4 slots in your inventory, so there aren't a lot of rigs that can run it. And because it's really expensive, it's not really economical to bring it in with you. What a lot of players will do with it though is put it in their gamma, because this way they don't need to worry about bringing in meds every single time they go into a raid. The downside to this, however, is that if you have the base edition of the game, it'll take up your whole secure container. You also aren't able to hotkey this item, so you'll have to pull up your inventory every single time you want to use it. What I typically use the Grizzly for is healing myself when I die in a raid. This makes it so I don't have to pay after a raid to heal myself, and I also get the experience from healing after the raid. Alright, so that just about covers all the meds that you should have to know about at the beginning of the game. I would recommend just running what you can afford, but always be prepared for anything that can happen. It's important to have items that can heal all types of negative effects, because if you don't have these, you'll probably end up dying or have a lot harder of a time getting to extract. Stay safe, stay strapped, and good luck out there.